Welcome to our first webinar. Let's start welcoming people in. If you guys can hear me, say yes. Write to me on the chat so I know that you can hear me. Hey, Roland. Hey, Joshua. What's up, Dimitris? Hey, Julianne, JB, Enrique, Jan, Yakir. My God, so many people. How amazing to see you all here. Welcome to 2021. We're going to give a few more minutes for people to join in. And while we're waiting, it'd be great if you guys can answer like a quick poll that we have here. Basically, I just want to get to know you a little bit more and know how of a heavy Any.do user you are, so I can kind of see and have context while we go on and we talk about our crushing our goals in 2021. So just want to see a little bit of how active you are and how well are you familiar with the platform. I see we have some really heavy users here. So that's very cool to see. It's very fun to see. We'll give 1 or 2 more minutes for people to join in. If you want to drop a line until then, like in the chat, and just say hi, or maybe even share your biggest goal for 2021. Hey from Luxembourg, Melody. Hey Pitt. How's Texas? Happy New Year, Jillian. We have people from all over the world here. This is so great to see. Cool. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Laura. Vermont, Austin, Texas, Mexico, Atlanta, Northern California. That's so great. So happy that you can all join us today. And more than that, I'm very happy that each one of you has decided to take action and want to really design 2021 to be their year. And make it into a year they'll achieve their goals, their dreams, and really crush it. Hello, Eagle from Israel, Mike from Germany. Cool. So I think this is a good time, like any other, to start. So before we're going to go into to talk about how to crush your goals, if you haven't picked up our latest limited time offer, right now you can purchase Any.do. The yearly premium plan for 57% off. This is the lowest price we've offered Any.do yearly premium ever, I think. So this is like a great time to grab that offer. Also, of course, you can implement everything we'll talk about here also on the free version, but a lot of the examples that I'm going to share with you and a lot of the implementation process will actually include some of the premium features. So if you're currently just thinking or not sure if you should buy it, this is a really great opportunity to do it. You're going to already use it in a few seconds, right? Like through this webinar. So that's a great opportunity, both at the lowest price, and also you're going to put it into practice in just a few minutes. Jason, we're going to start right now. I'm happy you're asking. We're going to start right now. Just letting everybody to catch up. Yakir, being a freelance content creator is a great goal for 2021. So Laura, I'm hopefully we're going to go through the webinar and you're going to use some of these features and you're going to see the difference and how much value it can bring you. So let's get started. I'm happy to introduce this webinar because this is also not only our first webinar ever, this is a kickoff for our Masters of Productivity webinar series. This means that every month from now on, we're going to have a webinar on a different topic to help you guys be more productive, learn more productivity methods, learn how to utilize Any.do better, and basically help you, save more time every day and get more of your time back. So I'm really, really happy to welcome you to actually the first webinar in this series. And today we're going to talk about a step-by-step guide to crushing your goals in 2021. So this is a heavy topic for me. I'm big on setting goals and trying to. There's a term called lifestyle design. So I'm big on that, and I'm very happy to share my knowledge on how to set your goals. I haven't introduced myself, so that I think this will be the best time as any other. My name is Roy Povarchik. I'm head of growth at Any.do. And with me here, we have Shirley, head of customer success. She's also here with us. Sure, you can jump in and say hi.
All joining us today.
So Shirley will be helping us throughout the webinar. She'll also be helping us with answering chat questions. Now, if you have any questions during the webinar, you can just write them down in the chat. Some of them we'll answer as we go, and some of them will probably wait till the end for the FAQs, for the Q&A, sorry. So let's get started. So what we're going to cover today is one, we're going to talk about why you even need to set goals. Why is it even important? Second, we're going to talk about why most people fail, right? A big percentage of people who actually set goals for every year or New Year's resolution fail at achieving them. We're going to understand why, so you can, of course, avoid those mistakes. We're going to talk about how to choose the right goals that are the right ones for you, because it's not just about setting goals. It's also making sure you're setting the right goals that are good for you and the ones that you want to actually achieve. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to define your goals. A lot of people don't understand that the way that you define your goals also kind of sets you up into failure or success with achieving them. Sometimes we basically set ourselves for failure just by not defining the goals well enough. And of course, the last thing we're going to cover is how to make a plan, how to make your plan to achieve those goals this year. You will see that a lot of the examples that I'm going to show and the process that I'm going to show you throughout this webinar, I'm doing on the desktop version of Any.do. I'm a big fan of the desktop version, but on the day-to-day, the daily plans, the daily to-dos, I do a lot of them through mobile, either through my iPhone or through the tablet. So I'm going to demonstrate this mostly on desktop, but you can obviously do everything that I show you here on desktop, you can also do on your mobile device, right? So you can just, if you are encountering any problems in using these features or finding out how to do what I'm doing on screen on your mobile device, just ask in the chat and we'll be happy to help. So finally, let's get started. Why do you even need to set goals? So the reason goals are so important is, number one, they keep you focused throughout the year, right? Every time, it's throughout the year, a lot of things are happening. You're busy, you have work, you have your family, life happens. And basically having a list of goals set in place will help you always come back to it and keep you focused on what you need to do. What were you trying to achieve? What was important to you when you sit down and imagined how your year is going to be like? So it keeps you focused on doing the right things. Number two, it tells you what you truly want, because you will see that as part of this webinar, a part of this process, you will actually have to ask yourself some tough questions about what you really want to achieve in life and what do you want to have or what do you want to do or learn or travel in 2021. So part of it will also be prioritizing and narrowing down the list. And you will see that once you have to really choose and pick a very limited amount of goals per year, right? You will see what you actually want and what you just think you want. What is noise and what is an actual thing you care about. Number three, it propels you forward. Having a goal in place, knowing you want to reach something specific, it kind of gives you the drive to move on, to keep doing the work day by day. For me, I think that having goals helps you live your life to the fullest, because it means that at some point you've stopped and you fantasized about the bigger picture. You weren't caught up in your day-to-day. You weren't caught up in what's happening in the next 10 minutes. You literally sat down and thought, what do I want to be? You dreamt big for a moment there, right? And it gives you inspiration to do stuff you don't do in your day-to-day, and it pushes you forward. Next is that goals transform big problems into small actionable items, right? You don't see the full line here, but goals basically transform your big problems into small actionable items. As part of defining your goals, as part of defining your plan to reach your goals, you're going to see that a lot of the things that sound very intimidating or sounds almost impossible become small tasks you can do every day to move forward. For me, having a goal in place makes it really easy to make decisions throughout the year, right? Because every time that I have a dilemma, I go back to my goals and I remember that, hey, if I want to achieve something and I have this decision to make now. Is that if I'm choosing A versus B helping me move forward towards my goal or not? And if it's not, it's easy to choose what to do, right? Like if B doesn't help me move forward and A does, A is the winner. Helps you make a lot of decisions and help you prioritize what's important to you. And goals also hold you accountable for failure. And being accountable for failure is not to feel any shame or to punish yourself. The idea that once you're accountable for your failures, you can also ask yourself, why did I fail? Maybe I chose something I didn't care enough about, and I need to rethink how I see my goals, how I prioritize my values, right? Maybe sometimes it can be, I didn't follow the plan. It helps you kind of look back, revise, and you can kind of go deeper and understand what's going on, and you can understand how to be better next time. So I think setting goals is really, really important to do every year. Now, New Year's resolution, I think, is one of the most kind of famous terms. Everybody has a New Year's resolution, but most people don't finish their year as winners in terms of they don't finish the year. Milan, maybe there's a connection problem. I don't know if everybody's experiencing it or not. If it's lagging for everybody, let me know. Okay, thanks Joshua. Thanks Matt. Okay, so most people don't end up their year feeling like they've won or not achieving all their goals, right? So why does it usually happen? Number one is a bad goal definition, right? The problem, for example, one of the most popular New Year's resolutions is like losing weight, eating healthier. The problem with this goal definition is that it doesn't point you to where you need to go. It doesn't point you to what exactly do you need to achieve, right? If I need to eat healthier, what does it mean? If I eat a salad once a week, am I eating healthier or not, right? So a bad defined goal basically throws you off and you cannot really understand what you're trying to achieve. And the biggest problem is that you lose motivation once you don't understand what you're trying to achieve. Number two is basically failure to choose the right goals. Sometimes we choose goals that are not relevant to us. Sometimes we choose goals that are actually very short-term, that we didn't really want them. Sometimes we choose goals because we see somebody else doing something, right? And they just don't really fit with us. So if you're choosing the wrong goals, you won't be motivated over time, right? And you need to understand motivation is something you have basically from the 1st of January till the end of January. After that, what you have is discipline and plans. So if you don't choose the right goals, your motivation is going to run out really fast, and it's going to be very hard to keep on working throughout the year. Number three is that the goal was not important enough to begin with. We chose a goal that was too easy for us. We chose a goal that was misleading, right? And it's not as important as we thought it is. It's okay to change your goals throughout the year if you understand that you've made a wrong decision in prioritizing your goal. If your goal was not important enough as much as you thought it would be, it's okay to change it throughout the year. It's okay to change it so you can put a better goal in there, right? And you can focus on the things that are important to you. Don't just follow a goal because you wrote it. If it's not important enough, you won't be motivated to do it. Change that goal into something you actually want to achieve. A lot of people set up a New Year's resolution and they kind of leave it to chance. I want to eat healthier. Fine. What are you going to do with it? And most people don't actually put a plan in place. Next is that they don't share their goals. Sometimes when we commit to something and we share it with a friend, we share it with a colleague, we share it with a spouse, right? Just sharing the goals with somebody, they can ask us every once in a while, hey, how are you doing? Are you reaching your goal? Are you eating healthier as you thought you would? What do you need from me to help you achieve that goal? So sharing your goal helps you commit to it better and helps you create a supporting surround, right? By the way, especially, I started with the eating healthy. I don't know why I stuck with it, but sometimes when we have a new goal in place, it means that we're kind of trying to create a better us or a different us than we were at the beginning. And when we make changes, one of the things that holds us back is that people around us see us and they see the changes that we've made, and they kind of, hey, since when are you a guy who eats salad for lunch? Hey, since when are you this person who does X, Y, or Z, right? Because they don't know you're trying to change. And what happens is that once somebody actually tells us, hey, you're not the kind of person that do X, Y, and Z, we suddenly become insecure about our goals. But it's not that we chose the wrong goal. It's just the fact that we didn't share it. We didn't help our environment understand the change we are trying to make. Next is that we don't set milestones. Having a New Year's resolution, having an yearly goal, right? You cannot go from 0 to 100 and just, from 0 to 1 and wait 12 months to do it. You have to set up small milestones. You need to have small wins that can make you feel good, that to make you see that you are on track, right? So set up small milestones that you can achieve throughout the year. Next is people set up goals, but they don't think of the work. They don't think of the work. They just think about the New Year's resolution. They think about their goal, but they don't understand that it means that if you want to, I don't know, if you want to get six pack, if you want to get abs, right? It means that you're going to have to block 3 to 4 times, 3 to 4 sessions in your calendar per week, right? Way to go, Michael. So if you don't set up your goal and if you don't understand that there's work included, right? You're not gonna lose weight or get abs if you don't set up time to actually work out. Just having the resolution in place doesn't mean anything. You need to think about what works it actually takes to get you there. Okay, so that's the next thing. And sometimes the goals are just not realistic, right? If you are $200,000 in debt, you probably won't get to being a millionaire within a year. Sometimes you will, maybe, right? But it's mostly unrealistic that you're going to make that huge leap from one end to the other. So make sure you choose goals that inspire you, but also make sure that they don't make you feel miserable. Having such a big goal in place, knowing that you're not going to achieve it, or every day being frustrated that you cannot achieve it, is very, very hard. It's going to demotivate you. And motivation is already hard on the day-to-day when you're so busy. So, right, set yourself up to win. Now, how do you even choose the right goals? By the way, guys, before I move forward, do you have any questions? Are you with me? Am I talking too fast? Are we good? Drop me a line in the chat so I know that you're with me. Great, Michael. Thanks, Dimitris. Thanks, Joshua and Andrew. Good. So we'll move forward. We're gonna give better examples of. We're gonna give better examples in the real soon. We're gonna get deep into this. So how do you choose the right goals? So the first step is that I choose 3 goal categories. Right. An example can be what do you want to own, where do you want to be, and what do you want to do. A different set of categories can be personal, work, and workout. Another one could be personal, work, education. Some people do personal, work, travel. So choose the 3 categories in your life that you feel are relevant to you, that these are categories where you want to improve. So you do this, and then you go to Any.do and you create a dedicated list per category. Right. So the way I do this in step 2. I open Any.do on my desktop, and I start by sorting the view into list and view into multi-column. Right. So if you set it up, it should look something like this. Right. So we have personal goals, work goals, health goals, and of course, like the today one that is arcing here. So this is what you need to see. On the next step, right, so you chose your goal category, you create a new list, 3 new lists on Any.do, and now you want to jot down whatever is on your mind. Okay, the idea is basically that you wanted every part of the list, you're going to write down every idea for a goal you think is relevant to you at this point. So it can be spend more time with family and friends, right? So if we're looking at personal goals, we can talk about spending more time with family and friends. We can talk about Sarah, yeah, there's a visual. Is everybody else seeing the visual or real? Sarah, so my recommendation is that you try and refresh for a second, and you're supposed to see the screen. Cool. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks. Sarah, let us know if you can see it or not. Thanks, Aubrey and Dave. Cool. So basically, you want to jot down all the kinds of ideas that you have for goals. So for health, for example, I have reduce stress, improve cardio, lose weight, eat less junk food, eat healthier food. Just jot down everything you have in mind. Don't worry about how you write it. Don't worry about how you define it yet. Just write everything. Just write everything down.
Know if the presentation will be available to download in our email. Can you confirm, please?
Yes. So I'm going to set, because I see these questions comes back often, where you're going to send the recordings and the slides. You're going to get them probably tomorrow. Wait, I'm seeing Cynthia as a question. Can these goals be shared with people? My husband and I are a real estate team. We have some shared goals, some individual goals. So you can do shared lists. Shirley can link you to the feature. And Cynthia, the goals, well, you can have shared goal with somebody, right? But you have to understand what is your part in the goal process. You can have what I would basically do, by the way, if your shared goal are around your business, right? Then what I would do is I would do your personal goal, your husband's personal goals, but I will also do the process for your business. What are your business goals? You can use the same process, right? Maybe different categories, obviously. So you can do you can maybe do something like sales goals and maybe financial goals. But it's kind of it's a similar process in overall. So, okay. So going back into this. So after that, you have to sit down with yourself and jot a list. Don't care how many items you add. Don't beat yourself up on how you define them yet. Just write everything that's on your mind that you think can be good for you and interesting for you to achieve in this upcoming year. Now, the next thing that I do is that I tag them under the goal category, right? So basically I add a label, like a tag per list. So I create a tag that's called personal goals. I create a tag called work goals. I create a tag called health goals. And I tag each one of the items based on the list they're in. You're going to see why in just a second. Now, if you've noticed, I've also added a list called goals archive. We're going to have to prioritize in the next step the amount of goals we want to achieve in the next year. But if you had something written down as a goal you were playing with or you were thinking might be relevant for you, I wouldn't delete it I wouldn't erase it permanently or delete it just because I would think, maybe you want to go back to it sometime in the future. Maybe as you go throughout the year, you'll find that goal was more relevant than you think, right? Katharina, you have to go to all tasks. You have to go to all tasks and then you'll be able to see it. Shirley can guide you through it in the text. As I've said, you're going to prioritize. So you might not want to lose all the goals that you've decided not to do this year, right? So I would just drop them into a list called Goals Archive, just so you'll have it and it wouldn't go away. Next, you want to prioritize and you're going to stay with only 3 goals per category. Right? If some of you are thinking, what, 3 goals per category for the entire year, that's not a lot, that's not enough. I'm going to remind you that eventually for each goal, right, there's a plan you have to set up in place. It's going to take a lot of time to achieve them. 9 different goals, right? Even if it takes you an hour work per goal a week, it's a day's work, right? So don't be tempted to add more goals just because you think 3 are not enough. Or 3 per category, or just because you're looking at your 9 goals and you're thinking, wait, it's easy, I can do it. Even though it looks like a short list, trust me, it's hard and it takes time. So start with 3. If you achieve your goal, right, somehow you achieve it mid-year, amazing, add another goal after. Don't be tempted to overcrowd your list just because when you see it as a list, it looks very, very, very achievable. So 3 tips. Tips on how to make sure that you're choosing the right goal. Number 1, yeah, Matt, 100%. Everything does take longer than you think. So some tips on how to choose the right goal. 1, ask yourself, if I'll achieve this, I will be. A lot of people, choose a goal or decide to do something, but they don't ask themselves, what is the actual impact that I will have if I'll achieve this? And the result is that you achieve something and then you said, oh wait, it didn't give me what I needed. It didn't make me happy. It didn't get me to where I thought I'd be, right? So actively ask yourself, if I'll eat healthier, then I will be what? Make sure that the goal you're setting is in correlation to the impact you want to achieve. Next, choose a goal to create a journey. I love this advice. The reason I love it is because, again, basically most of the time achieving, wait, Siri is waking up here. So most of the time, that's a big issue. Things are not big. Porter, 100%. So most of the time when we have to, we're doing our day-to-day, achieving our goal means doing task by task. So one of the things that keeps most people motivated, and a good way to stay motivated, is making sure that your road towards your goal is a journey on itself. It's a story. It's something that you can enjoy. It's something you can take proud of. It's something that you can be interested in or share with somebody else. It really helps you stay motivated throughout your journey and throughout your process of achieving your goal. Number 3 is make sure you choose a goal that excites you. Sometimes we choose a goal just because we think it's the right goal to choose or it's what people expect from us. But if we're not excited about it, it's going to be very hard to stay motivated. It's going to be very hard to do it day by day. Next, choose performance versus outcome goals, right? So performance versus outcome goals, if I'm sticking to the diet thing. So, losing weight is an outcome goal. The problem with this is that it means nothing. Performance goal would be run 10 kilometers 3 times a week, right? Breaking down the losing weight into the checklist that is going to get you there, right? And you want to choose a goal that is performance oriented, because maybe you won't lose the weight you wanted, but if you ran 5 kilometers or 5 miles 3 times a week for a year, you're going to feel so much better and you're going to have impact. You don't know what the impact is maybe, right? But this is something you can 100% control and you can take proud of. If there are any display issues, JB, I would just refresh. Demio is a great platform, but no technology is free of bugs. So just refresh the screen and you will get there. Next one is select them for the right reasons. Make sure that the goals you're choosing them because they mean something to you. Make sure that you're not choosing them because you saw somebody else doing it in a movie. You're not choosing them because you're in a competition with somebody else. Make sure that you're choosing your goals for the right reasons. And if you want some additional guiding questions that I think are really helpful, is number 1, how do I want to spend my time? Achieving your goals takes time. Every task you're going to do and perform takes time. Think about how every time. So ask yourself, how do I want to spend my time? When I choose this goal, what does it mean? How will my time look like? How will my day-to-day look like? Think about that. Next, think about what daily activities make me want to leap out of bed, right? Make me think like, what is the things that I'm going to be excited about every day? Thinking about, doing this or becoming that person excites me. So think about what are those activities. Next, you can also think like, what do I want to learn? What do I want to be the outcome? At the end of this, what extra information, what extra knowledge do I want to have? And also another really good question, of course, is who do I want to hang out with? Who do I want to talk with? Who do I want to collaborate with? A lot of the tasks, a lot of the small things that we're going to do daily will include, working with other people, collaborating, maybe, joining a running group. Ask yourself, who are these people that I want to hang out with, right? All these things really help you shape your goals better and choose the right ones. If you look at the goals you're about to choose and you ask yourself throughout this list of 9 questions, right? You're going to see that a lot of the goals you thought you wanted are not the goals you wanted. And you're going to see that a lot of the things you didn't think through before suddenly becomes very clear and very powerful to you using this method. Cool. So basically, you go down and you prioritize. You have to dissect your list and you have to keep only 3 goals per category. Again, even though the list looks very short right now, don't be tempted to add more. Next, we're going to define our goals. Remember that before we said that one of the biggest mistakes people make is that they don't define their goals well enough. So we're going to make sure we define our goals well. So the secret here is to make your goals SMART. SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Specific means specific goals are, specific goal will be usually answered with 5 W's, like what is it, why I'm doing it, who's doing it, where, and which. Specific has to be, like, you have to make sure that there's something that is very tangible, that is very, very, very specific. I'm going to show you an example in a second. Next, it has to be measurable. It's something that I need to know, did I get it or not? So losing weight is something I cannot measure. Losing 5 pounds is something I can measure. I can know if I made progress, if I'm there or not, or how much progress do I have left. Next, you have to make sure it's attainable. Attainable means that this is something you can actually get. You can realistically attain, that it's relevant to you, right? If you've never swam in the past, don't put a goal as, I don't know, be nominated to the Olympics, right? And within a year, it's not going to happen. Well, and if it does, it's an amazing story to have, right? But most of the time, it's not that attainable. Make sure that it's relevant. If your goal doesn't mean anything to you, then it isn't worth pursuing. Time-bound. You need to have a deadline. So not just lose weight. Is I need to lose 5 pounds within 6 months, for example. Right? Don't just throw there and don't have a deadline to it. Commit to a certain time limit. So let's see a quick overview. So for example, I'm taking like the goals that I wrote before in the health goals. So I have eat healthier food, lose weight, and run more often. So eat healthier food, for example, I can change that in like do intermittent fasting for 3 weeks in a row, right? Every month. So that's very easy. I can do it's a performance based. I can basically see if I'm doing it or not, and the outcome will come through it. My goal is lose weight. Again, losing weight is not very specific. So lose 20 pounds by the end of 2021. That's a very specific goal. Run more often. That doesn't mean much to me, but like run 5 kilometers twice a week. That's very specific. At the end of every week, I can look back and review my week and say, did I do it or not? And at the end, I can say out of the full amount of weeks I had in 2021, how many of them did I achieve my goal? Right? So this is more specific. This is something you can either do or not. And the best thing here also, by the way, that a lot of them you can correct yourself and fix it as you go. Right? Even if you look at losing 20 pounds by the end of 2021, right? If it's 6 months in and you didn't lose any pounds, then something you're doing is wrong, right? You can ask them, if I keep doing this, will I lose 20 pounds by the next 6 months? Right? So you can, I think they're very good goals because you can stop at any moment, you can look at it and see your progress. And at the end of the year, you can really look at them and say, did I achieve this? Yes or no? Or how often did I achieve this? Now, as you can see with the run 5 kilometers twice a week and to do intermittent fasting, what I like about these goals is that it's not a yes or no definitive, right? Like you can, run 5 kilometers twice a week, and then sometimes you won't do it, but you can fix it the next week, right? So you can also like do that and revise and improve from week to week. Now, the next step is you want to create a yearly goals 2021 list and add all your goals to that list. So what I basically did, this is just like a technical thing. I created a new list called 2021 goals, and I moved all the goals that I have from my 3 separate lists into one list. And I deleted the previous 3 lists, right? I used them for brainstorming. Now what I have is one list with all my goals tagged by the category of goals that I wanted to have, right? So every time I can do it once a week, I can do it every day. I can start my day by looking at the list called 2021 goals, right? And read through them and ask myself, am I still excited about these goals? Do they work for me? Am I doing it or not? Now, the next step, right? The fun thing about making goals is that it's still on a fantasy level, right? Losing weight, you already imagine yourself 20 pounds less. Read 2 books a month, you already imagine having the list of books you've read and how smarter you'll be. That's the fun part. You can give yourself a reward for the milestones. That's a really good idea, Jillian. That you can give yourself a reward for milestones that you achieve, and yeah, that can keep you motivated. That's why milestones are so important as well. So the next step, after we fantasize about the goals and where we want to be, it's time to make it concrete and make a plan. Matt, yeah, we're going to do a Q&A at the end, of course. And also, by the way, you can ask in the chat and, or send me an email later on. I'll always be happy to answer. So the next step is that you make a plan. And making a plan, that's where things get real. So if you don't have a plan, you won't follow through, right? Just like getting fit or running more, that's not a plan. Reading more this year, becoming a bookworm is a great inspiration, but it's not a plan. So the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate list per goal. So for example, one list is weekly lunch with a friend, which was one of my personal goals. Second one was read 2 books a month. That was part of my personal goals. Okay, so one of my goals was to learn a new language, right? But the goal that I've set is read a complete first grade French book in French, right? So if I want to learn French, then by the end of 2021, my goal is to read like a very low level, right? But a native French book, all read in French. So every goal becomes a list. Why? Because now we need to build a plan towards that goal. And those plans are your daily tasks eventually, right? So some of my tips to planning your way towards your goal. Number one is break it down into little bits, right? Break it down to like the smallest next steps you actually have to make. Like for example, the book example, don't just say like find books to read, right? Make it specific. Subscribe to Kindle. Go and check out Amazon top 10 books. Go and check out, go to Google and search for 20 books about marketing. Whatever type of books you like, of course. Make an actual actionable plan to get it. Make sure that when you start listing your tasks, they propel you forward. They move you forward. They're not just waste of time tasks. They are focused, right? If I want to read 2 books a month, I need to make sure that I have at least the next book to read, right? Or that I have 2 books a month to read. It has to be actionable. I need to make sure that I secure 30 minutes a day before bedtime to sit down and read. I need to block it in my calendar, make it actionable. Share to be held accountable. This is something I really like because again, you have your tasks day to day. You can just text your friend saying you have an accountability buddy, and you text them and say, hey, I read 30 minutes today, thank you. And you can share with somebody and they can ask you every day, did you do it or not? Now, something that is very weird in our human psyche is that it's easier for us to disappoint ourselves than to disappoint others. So just by having your friend saying, man, you didn't read for the last 3 days. You said you read every day 30 minutes and you haven't read the whole week. You haven't read in the last 3 days, right? You don't want to send a text message saying, I didn't read. So eventually you'll actually make this into a priority because somebody else is holding you accountable. Next is set milestones, right? Celebrate small wins. Make sure you're not waiting till the end of the year to reward yourself or to feel good about yourself. Set a milestone so you know when it's time to look back and revise what you're doing, right? We said like that to read 2 books a month, you set apart 30 minutes a day. If your first milestones is, the first month, how many books did I read, right? Celebrate that. Then you can look back at your first month and say, hey, I didn't read every day for 30 minutes. It's not working for me. But on the weekends, on the other hand, I suddenly feel the urge to read for 3 hours, and that works for me. Great. Change your plan, right? So set your milestones so you can both celebrate and revise what you're doing and review your work. Another advice that I think is really good is adding stakes. There's a website, I don't know if it's still there or not. I think it's called Stack or Stake, actually, like STAKK, which basically you define the goal you want to commit to. So you can basically write a goal that you want to commit to, and then what you do is that you deposit a check or a certain amount of money. And if you don't achieve your goal, or if you don't, hold up to what you said you'll do, they donate the money to an organization that you really hate, something that is like opposed to what you believe in, right? So you know that if you don't do what you said you'll do, you don't only lose your money, but you're also donating to a cause you don't want to do. Jan, I see promotion price change when I sign in. Send an email to Shirley later and she'll hook you up with the right price. So if the goal doesn't work, change it. If your goal was to read 2 books a month and you haven't picked up a book in 2 months, maybe it's not the goal you want to achieve, right? Don't just say, okay, so don't just let yourself go and be bummed or, be sad about it. Replace it with something you'd care about. It's okay. It's okay to change goals if they don't fit you, right? The only thing that I ask you, and you should ask yourself, is, do I really don't want to do this goal, or am I lazy, or am I just quitting too soon, or am I just giving myself, like I'm just like letting myself go? Be honest with yourself on why you're changing your goal. If the real reason is that you're not excited, if you don't care, then change it. So you can see the plan that I've made. Of course, that's an example. So weekly lunch with a friend. What I would actually do is that I would create a list, lunch with a friend 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would actually add the names of the people that I want to eat lunch with in the next month or in the next week, 2 weeks, right? Because usually what happens is that people don't plan ahead, right? And if you don't plan ahead, what happens is that, Sunday goes by, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, oh wait, I want to eat lunch with a friend, and it's, tomorrow is Friday, nobody's available, and oops, another week went by and you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Planning ahead would really help you do that. So you can actually set time with people. People at most times, right, are busy, so you can set up ahead, and then you don't have to rethink your goal every time. This is a really great way to make sure that you don't fail at achieving your goal. Because if you set up this appointment with your friend, for example, for the next month, right, it's there. It's there. Again, read 2 books a month. As I said, be as actionable as you can. Create a list of 10 books I want to read. So the next step would be probably, the next task that I would add would be like review the top 10 books on Amazon, get a recommendation from 3 friends that I count on, see what other books a favorite author of mine have written in the past few years. Then the next step would be sign up to Kindle. And then again, I'm going to try and actually make a choice. What book is the next book that I'm going to read? And I'm going to create of books that I want. Again, I can change it whenever I want to a different book, of course, but I want to already have that in place. The next step, by the way, would be to block a session of 30 minutes a day and add that to my calendar, right? That would be something else that's supposed to be on the list. Next, my next goal was learn, to read a 1st grade French book. So my next step would be sign up to Duolingo. Block 3 15-minute sessions per week to do the classes, right? And then I would actually break down each session as a task, because tasks take time. This task is part of your day-to-day routine. And what happens a lot of times is that when we plan these things ahead, we just take them for granted. And when we plan our day, we forget that we needed to do this. And then the day goes by and we didn't do our session because we didn't book the 15 minutes. We didn't add it as a task. So make sure you even add the sessions, right? And then what you'll achieve is that every week after you finish, you're going to look back at your task and you'll be happy. You'll feel better because you've marked them all as done, right? And then there's a small milestone. Try reading a page from the book after week 1. See where you're at, right? You can review, and when 3 weeks pass and you suddenly see that you can almost read an entire page, you'll feel so great. You'll be motivated to keep going. So here are a few ways you can set yourself to win. Number 1, add reminders. It's a premium feature, right? Like adding like you have basic reminders, you can add recurring reminders. You need to have 3 sessions, right? 3 15-minute sessions, add a recurring event and add a reminder to do it just when you need to do it. Add color tags to each task. So color tags is just like a power tool for me. I use color tags in different ways. Number one is to remember what needs to happen when. So sometimes I would tag specific tasks, whether I need to do it at home, maybe I can do it from my phone, maybe I can do it when I'm standing in line somewhere. So I'm actually going to use color to codes and color tags to each task. And add due dates to your milestones, right? Make it concrete. Now, next thing you want to do is you want to use create a daily routine. Right. So your daily routine, I'm going to cover 3 parts of your daily routine to help you win. One, we're going to go through Any.do moment and how to use it. Any.do moment is a feature a lot of people love. It's limited in the free version. It's unlimited in the premium version. This is one of the features that keeps me focused every day, and really, for me, made a huge difference between being like all over the place and overstressed. Turned me into somebody who's like on it and making sure that I complete my tasks. So we're going to talk about that in a second. Set yourself time for deep work and focus mode. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the evening review. Let's start with Any.do moment. So Any.do moment is a feature that jumps up every morning and basically asks you to prioritize your day. It tells you how many tasks you have listed for that day, and then you have to go through them and decide what are you going to keep, what are you going to remove and move to a different day, what maybe you've already done, and maybe there's a task that is not relevant to you anymore and you just want to delete it, right? So the right way, or the questions that help me use Any.do moment to the fullest, meaning help me prioritize my day in the right way, is, again, I can ask myself now, is this task moving me towards my goal? Yes or no? If it's not moving me towards the goal, right, then I can just maybe either push it to later, delete it maybe, or decide it's not important. Now, of course, not everything you have to do every day is only about your goals and achieving your goals, and not everything is just about your life dreams and life design. But so this moves me to the next question. How many tasks that I'm doing today are goal related? Sometimes you'll have none, but if too many days goes by with you having none of your tasks related to your goal, you know you're losing your track, right? And so every day you can ask yourself, am I balancing my goals and my dreams with the rest of the things that I'm doing every day, with the rest of the things and my commitments? So how many tasks are goal related? And next is, do I have a goal-related task I'm always postponing, right? So let's say that my task was, I don't know, research 10 books to read, or research 2 books to read next month, and I'm not doing it, and I keep postponing it. And after 5 or 6 days, I'm pushing it from one day to the other and not getting to it. It's a great time to ask yourself, why am I postponing it? Why am I not doing this? Sometimes, again, it's just a matter of bad prioritization. Sometimes it's a way to understand that it's not as important to you, or that you're not enjoying it, or that you want to delay it, or you don't want to do it now, right? Maybe this goal is not important for you to 2021 as much as you thought it would be. Next is going into deep work. Now, deep work, the secret of deep work is is that deep work is where you actually do meaningful work. Most of us get 0 time to do deep work. Deep work means that you're working for 3-4 hours without any interruption. Deep work means that you can sit for 3 hours and you don't have to stop what you're doing. You can get into your work zone and really be at it. Now, what most people don't get is that we have so much distractions around us, so many things that are pulling us attention. So if you're trying to get into your deep work space, if you're trying to get into your zone and your phone is next to you, and you have notifications jumping up, right? So you might think that, well, it's just a notification, but I'm not acting on it, so it doesn't matter. So I want to share with you the fact that every time you get distracted by a notification, the average time it takes you to concentrate back, right, is about 20 minutes to really go back into deep work. That's every notification or every small distraction that you have. It costs you about 20 minutes of deep work until you can get back into your zone. Right? So think about it, that even if your phone is right next to you, it's still going to bother you. Make sure you clean your space. Now, one of the features that I use when I use Any.do, it's called focus mode. So basically, when you're in your task in your mobile, you can basically click on focus mode, and it will block all your distractions for the limited time you asked it to do. Okay, so that's about deep work. Next, a habit that I think is one of the strongest habits of really good habitual people is evening review. End your day and review back on your task. Number one is what I call activity review. Just looking at what did I actually achieve? Did I activity review basically means I can look into it and say, what did I achieve today, what I didn't, right? And again, what it helps you to do is understand why. Sometimes you just added too much work to one day. You were very optimistic. Sometimes things happen, right? Something took longer than you think, that you thought it would take. Sometimes, again, just life happens and you were distracted, you were having an off day. And sometimes you hit all your goals and you had a very happy day. And then you can, congratulate yourself or reward yourself at the end of the day. So check out how exactly your day looked like. By the way, one of the biases that I can share with you that is very popular is that sometimes the days we felt were the most productive for us were actually days that we didn't do what we were meant or supposed to do, but we had a lot of fun, so we felt we were productive. But then you go back to your list, right? And you see that you haven't done any of the action items you decided to do. So activity review keeps you honest about your progress. Next, it helps you reprioritize, right? If a task is overdue for too many days in a row, if you look at of what you've done today and you say, wait, I did 5 tasks out of my 7, but they weren't the right ones. You can ask yourself why they weren't the right ones. And tomorrow morning, when you're starting all over again, you know how to prioritize your task. Maybe you did something that was not urgent, or you did something that was urgent but not important, etc. Next is you want to recognize patterns. If you're constantly overstaffing your day with tasks, right, and you realize you can always do up to 3 tasks, not 7, then tomorrow when you prioritize and choose the tasks you need to do or you want to do, you can only do 3 tasks, and you need to hard prioritize, and you need to stay only with 3 of them. Okay, so next, one of the things that I like the most, and I talked about it before, is pair up. Find a friend you can talk weekly and follow up on each other's progress. It's called, I think, an accountability buddy. So you just set up a call at the beginning of every week or at the end of every week. It's just a call that you say, hey, did you do the 5 things you said you do? Yes, no. If it's a yes, amazing, celebrate. If it's a no, ask yourself why. And just hold yourself accountable, both of you. Okay, so we've reached the end. By now, you've learned why you need to set goals. You now know why most people fail at setting goals. You know how to choose the right goals for you, right? You can define their goals in the way you can actually make a progress on, and you can make your plan. Does anybody have any questions, by the way? This will be a great time to ask them. I know some of you asked throughout the webinar, and of course I couldn't stop for each question, but I would love to answer some of you right now. So don't go away just yet. We have some cool surprises for you. Again, if you haven't picked up our special limited time offer, this is the best time to do so. The lowest price we ever had for yearly premium. You can start implementing what we've just discussed right now. Tomorrow, you're also going to have the presentation and you're going to have the recordings. So you can actually go step by step with the slides and create your goals for 2021. It will probably be sent by tomorrow, end of the day. I see people are asking. This offer is actually, Melody, this offer is available basically by the end of this webinar. We were running this promotion for a while now, so this is actually like, the last hour or 2 before it goes away. So I would recommend acting on it now. If you have a problem, contact Shirley and we can see what we can do. But basically, it goes away in literally a few hours. Next, so yeah, this webinar is recorded. So you get a chance to sign up before everybody else to our next webinar. Our next webinar will be held in February 3rd, and we're going to talk about GTD using Any.do. If you're not familiar with getting things done, if you're not familiar with the method, this is one of the most popular methods used by over 2 million people, highly praised by some of the most productive, VCs, entrepreneurs, designers, and marketers around the world. This is basically a method to help you, work better, more efficient, be more calm as you do the work. This would actually be how to set up a process day by day, and how to organize the tasks and chores and projects you have to do in order to, number one, achieve them, which is the most important thing. Number two, ease your mind and live in the moment. And three, kind of reduce stress in the day-to-day. So you can actually be the first ones to sign up. You're getting this offer right now, so you can sign up and be the first one to be on the next webinar. Shirley, can you share the link? Cool. So you can just click on it right now, and you can join the next webinar, and you can secure a seat today. Again, it's on a free webinar. It's the second part of our new webinar series, Masters of Productivity. And I want to remind you that every second that you have is unique and holds the potential to be everything and nothing at the same time, right? The fact that you're one thing at this moment, at this second, doesn't mean you have to be consistent in the next second. And every second you get the chance to reinvent yourself. One of the quotes that I heard about Steve Jobs, which I loved the most, was that people said that he always saved himself the option to change his mind 180 degrees whenever he wanted. And he never felt, or his approach was that it's not that he was mistaken before, it's the fact that he had a chance to rethink the information he has and get a different, and get a different conclusion to it. So, the fact that you decide something a minute ago doesn't mean you have to stay there in the next minute if it doesn't fit you. If you're a person, Tony Robbins talks about decision making, and he talks about the 3 parts of decision making. And every time you're about to encounter a habit that you kind of want to let go, or you're about to, fall off track with your task, even if you've fallen off your track, you have the next second again to decide that you are a person who doesn't do that anymore. You can reinvent yourself in any second over and over again. Thank you very much. Have and of course, have a good luck in achieving your 2021 goals. Before we go, by the way, if you have other questions, this is the best time to do so. Well, Igal, I'm guessing that your question is like how to prioritize. Well, this is actually, the set of questions that I've mentioned before. This will really help you focus on what you want to do. And also don't think about this like what I want to do. It's what do I want to do first, right? And one of my suggestions for you would be, again, define really well what is the experience and what you're trying to achieve, right? And based on that, decide what is the next thing you're going to do. And, if you're defining your goal well enough, so you might want to do, your goal is to try something different every month. And then you want to create a list of things you want to try like every month and make sure that you're doing them. So you want to read 2 books next month. That's your goal. That's fine. You want to travel to a specific place. I don't know. You want to walk 5 miles every day. Every month you can, choose a different goal if that's what fits you. If your goal, by the way, if your major goal for 2021 is to try new things, set up a 12-month plan to just do that. Michelle is asking, do you have any assessment technique or system to determine which goals, milestones to set, and then how to prioritize them? That's a tough question. I would basically make sure that the milestones and the goals that I'm setting, number one, are always defined in a positive way. And if I add them up, they will lead me to where I want to go. I don't know if it really answers your question, but I think it's like the best way I can tell you. And in terms of how to prioritize them, the question is always, what's the impact? If I do X, what will be the impact on what I'm trying to achieve? Right? That's always for me like the best question to ask. Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, Igal. Thank you, Milan. Happy 2021 to everybody. JB, currently you can't, but that's a really good feature request. Thank you so much, everybody. Shirley, thank you so much for helping everybody here and being with us. Have a great day, everybody, wherever you are. Thank you, Eric and Riyad and Jab. Thank you all. See you in February.